Now we're going to go to News 8's Jacquie Slater, who is in Middletown. And Jacquie, I'm understanding, first of all, I saw this even via some Facebook posts from you last night, that through the night you were stranded in a ditch along I-91. Can you begin to tell us this story?
That's right, Jeff. I am with our photographer, J.P. Coleman, and we were stationed last night for a 6 o'clock live shot here in the Middletown area. We were at the rest area on, I guess it's Meriden Mountain, and we were hemming and hawing about what should we do, It's getting really nasty out, and so a group decision was take the SUV, so the News 8 SUV, go up one exit, turn around, and come 91 south, head back to the station, and we never made it. So as soon as we got onto 91 south, it was just whiteout conditions, and I said to JP, I was not driving, I said to JP, you can drive as careful as you want, but the other drivers out there might not be doing the same thing. And that's one of the biggest concerns I've always had driving in a snowstorm. No matter how slow I'm going, somebody else is coming flying by. Well, that wasn't really the case, but what was happening is other cars had spun out, and you couldn't see them in front of you. It was so bad out. So as we approached another car and it came into sight, we realized we needed to go around it. And when we tried to straighten out again, that's when we just kept on going and ended up in a ditch, I would say 15 to maybe 20 feet off of the side of the highway. And it's just really scary. As you're going down that hill, you don't know what's out there. You don't know, is there a tree? Is there a lake? Fortunately, we just stopped, and we sat there for about 9 hours. So it was pretty intense. We kept making sure that we could open our doors, because the snow was piling up. We would roll down the windows periodically to make sure that those weren't freezing. We also wanted to make sure that the exhaust pipe wasn't getting covered, so we would get out, so JP would get out, and he would go, and he would shovel around the exhaust pipe. We did have somebody stop to help us, and then he ended up getting stuck, so we spent the night talking back and forth with him on our phones, just making sure that you were okay. And occasionally a trooper would come by, and they would roll down, make us roll down the window, ask us if we had heat, did we have gas, was anybody hurt? And we said no, and they said, all right, we're going to have somebody come and help you soon. But as we were sitting there, you could just see these other cars trying to get up this hill, and everybody was getting stuck, and we were told there was about 100 other cars behind us. And around 7 o'clock this morning, that's when somebody knocked on the window just as I was falling asleep, and it was the National Guard. And the National Guard has been out there, and what they are doing is helping those stranded motorists. So they have their military ambulances out there. It's like the only vehicle that can get through the snow. We saw other National Guard vehicles get stuck. It took them like 40 minutes to shovel it out near us. We thought we were going to be rescued, and it didn't happen. And 3 hours later, along came the other one, and we were able to, at that point, get out of the car. We got in the truck. But what had happened is there's one lane on this highway, and the plows, we hadn't seen plows in 2 hours. So even the military truck couldn't find an exit that had been cleared to get off of the highway. We ended up having to drive like 6 more miles to even just attempt to turn around. It ended up taking an hour to get us back about what would have been a half of a mile. So, and the whole reason they were out is they were taking what they considered the serious calls. So there was a 9-year-old boy. So children they were considering a serious and I guess in that car, they were saying they were running out of gas and they weren't going to have heat. So they went out to find this young boy and his family. His name is Blair. He's 8 years old. He's the only kid here with us right now. He's playing basketball and trying to make the best of it. But they rescued him and then happened to be able to fit us. So we sort of lucked out, made it back here. We're at the Armory now in Middletown where, we at least have facilities. There's water. We have some military meals that we can eat. So it's an experience for sure. There's cots. I can tell you right now, JP's sleeping. He doesn't even know I'm on the phone. So he's pretty much sacked out. I'm getting there. I can't sleep in situations like this, so I'll doze for 5 minutes. But that's my story. Definitely one that I will never forget. I think it tops. My mother's always had stories about needing to buy diapers in I'm going to date myself here, but the blizzard of 78. And I think I win. I think I win hands down that this is probably the best one yet.
Well, first of all, if it makes you feel any better, I was out of diapers by 1978, and I remember that firsthand, Jacquie, so I think I'm a few years beyond you. But tell me this, because you were talking about that you needed to make sure you had enough gas, because that's a huge concern. If you're stranded in a car, and you have to sometimes perhaps ration that gas, not always run the engine to conserve, because you don't know how long you're going to be out there. But at the same time, if you shut off the engine, is it going to start again? So
Right,
what was that like?
absolutely. And we did that. We would shut it off for, like 45 minutes, and I had multiple coats. The car stayed pretty warm. So, and then when it started to get really it was we wanted to turn it back on again so that we could roll down those windows and make sure that we weren't going to just get buried in this car, because, we would have to open and shovel it out. The snow was packing the doors. So in my worst case scenario, I was going to be climbing out of the window. But that didn't happen. And again, the National Guard, they came, they helped pretty much shovel all around the car to get us out. And, just an amazing group of people. When we got back here, their parking lot wasn't even plowed yet. So I have no idea what the roads are like right now. What they're saying is it's still just as bad out there. And, they're out there, they're hoping to find other people that are in the same situation and still be able to safely get them back here, where, who knows, we might be here all day, all night, and into tomorrow. So at least we're safe and we're warm, and that's really what matters.
All bets are off, certainly, at this point. Now, I have to ask you, too, because as we talk about, you were mentioning the National Guard finally came in and picked you guys up. And by the way, the governor says that there are 270 National Guard troops on duty, and he expects, of course, that this is going to be a matter of days, not hours, for all of the recovery to happen, maybe even weeks for all we know. But Jackie, if you could talk about this too. So you were trying to find an exit where you could get off. This is with the National Guard. You guys had to double back. Were you heading north on the southbound side at this point?
Well, no, and they were, at one point we did see troopers doing that. A trooper had passed us, and then it looked like he backed up. We were really only about maybe a half of a mile, 3/4 of a mile from the exit where the trooper barracks is and where the armory is here as well. But what they did is we started heading south, and they were just going to turn around and head back, because when they picked us up, we were at full capacity. So I think we had, 6 people in one truck and 6 in another, and there was one person who was injured. But, they're carrying people on stretchers. One of the guardsmen actually hurt his ankle. I don't know what happened with that, but, they were trying to help him as well. So they were just trying to get us back to the armory. And we ended up having to get off the highway. Then they tried Route 66. That didn't work. I couldn't see anything. You're in the back of this military vehicle, and you can basically see this little white area out the front window, which I'm a control freak, and that's really hard to sit here and not know what you're doing, especially as it starts to spin out. You have no control. So you just have to trust them that this is the best vehicle out there for this kind of a situation, and it certainly was. But we ended up going on the Berlin Turnpike and then somehow getting back onto Route 9 and safely getting back here. But it did. It took us about an hour once we were in that military vehicle to get back to safety.
Now, Jackie, another question here. Your visibility was limited in terms of just seeing out and around you from the vehicle, but can you put any kind of an idea to us for the amount of distance that you guys did travel, to any kind of a number as to how many other spinouts and stranded vehicles you saw?
We could hear them talking. We could hear the oh, watch out, a lot of that sort of thing. We could see cars driving. You would see, we're stopped at a stop sign, and you would see another car kind of go, not speeding by, but faster than you would think they should. And so we were definitely running into other vehicles out there, out on the side, I say the side roads, but they were still main roads, but not the highway. On the highway, I can tell you, we saw throughout the night people getting stuck, people, just stopping for a minute and then trying to regroup. And we saw, like I said, the National Guard truck got stuck, a plow got stuck, and they would all hop out and have to shovel themselves out. So, it was a long night. For a while, I thought, I don't know how this is going to turn out when you see the National Guard truck getting stuck. If they can't get you, who's going to get you? But they, they had the manpower to get themselves out and then continue to send backups in, to help get everybody out there. But we did pass other cars where the people said, I'm okay, I'm going to stay here. And again, most of those were not on the highways. Yeah. The highways, to me, you're stuck over on the side. Your biggest fear is that somebody else is going to hit you, that they're going to spin out and come down that ditch and hit you.
Oh, you're a sitting duck at that point.
Right. And about an hour into it, I realized there really aren't that many cars on the road, so I relaxed a little bit in that sense. But, you were just constantly keeping your eyes and your ears peeled and looking for the flashing lights or listening for the plows, which would come by, every 2 hours at that point. And at that point, there was another 8 inches of snow on there. So it was just, I've never seen anything like it. And I hope that we never have to see anything like it again.
So I would imagine that your plan is there is no plan. You're kind of sitting tight up there in Middletown indefinitely. Is that the case?
We're sitting up here. I'm glad it's a phoner and not a live shot. I've got my glasses on, my hair back in a ponytail. It's not cute at this point.
Oh,
and
vanity.
I don't really see when it would be cute. I'm fortunate that I had the little overnight bag with me, which many of these people do not have. So I can go freshen up and clean up a bit. But from what I'm being told right now, I think we're here for the evening. And hopefully by the morning, those roads get cleared up. And we still have to figure out, well, how do we get back to... I can tell you, that truck's not going anywhere for a few days. So unless you're ready to come and get us, Jeff, I don't know. We could be here for a while.
Well, if you don't make it, we will tell the world your story, Jackie. I promise you that. And you know what? God bless you for keeping your sense of humor through all this. And I'm glad that JP's getting some sleep. I hope you get to close your eyes sometime soon as well. Thanks so much for being with us. An amazing story. Be safe up there, Jackie. You were just listening to Jacquie Slater, one of our reporters. She was just talking about her story of getting stuck with one of our photographers on I-91 last night, getting literally stuck in a ditch and being there for, she says, 9 hours before finally a National Guard vehicle was successful in getting them out into a safer place. And that was after several plows and other National Guard vehicles had made that attempt to rescue, but apparently that's the sign of how things have been, that along I-91, and no doubt all over Connecticut the last 12, 24 hours.